Usually we won't on Thursdays until we get to novel studies.
Today's Wednesday.
Sorry, Wednesdays until we get to novel studies. Okay, so we're on page 94, and now we're going to start filling out our character web for Dr. Street. Okay. Go ahead and read. Me. Almost said Haley, because she's the last one that had number 13. Okay. Make sure you're following along, because if you're not, I have my clipboard for if I have to give a consequence. Carla, are you ready? Yes, sorry.
How do you give us consequences?
I'm trying to figure that out. I haven't had to yet, so hopefully I won't have to. Okay, Carla, are you ready? Okay, make sure, because we had to wait for you to get back on. Okay, so you should be taking your headphones off unless you ask me first. Okay, so on page 94, I'm going to go ahead and start. The most awesome part was when we had to fix things on the outside of the station. We got our jobs done and floated in our spacesuits, staring out into the universe. There were zillions of stars and space, deep and black, but it didn't seem exactly empty. It seemed to be calling to us to go on an endless journey, and that was very scary. So we turned and looked at Earth. We were 200 miles above it. We saw enormous swirls of clouds and the glow of snowfields at the poles. We saw water like a giant blue cradle for the land. One big ocean, not oceans. The Earth isn't really chopped up into countries either. Up there you see it's one great big powerful living being that knows a lot more than we do. Go ahead and read next. Ethan. Loud and slow.
What does it know, I say? It knows how to be Earth. Dr. Street said, and that's a lot. I tried to imagine everything she has seen. It gave me a shiver.
Pause. Make sure you remember where you are, because you'll pick back up. So put your finger there so that you know where to pick back up. Why do you think Gloria shivered when she tried to think about, or when she tried to imagine what Dr. Street saw? Why do you think she shivered? Make sure, remember, if your hand goes up right away, I'm probably not going to call on you, because it means you probably didn't think too much about your answer. Why do you think she shivered when she tried to imagine what Dr. Street saw? Victoria?
Because it was really dark and kind of scary.
Okay. So it seemed like it might be kind of scary. Good. Any other answers, Aaron?
Because when she said, because it might be when she said in this journey.
Mm-hmm. Why would that make somebody shiver?
Because some people would not really want to be in space for an endless journey.
Yeah, it may. So again, it might be scary. And sometimes when you're scared, or at least when you watch TV shows or movies and people are scared, they might shiver a little bit. Good. She also could have thought it sounded so exciting. And sometimes when something sounds so exciting, you can't help but just like almost vibrate. So those are two emotions that might cause somebody to kind of let off a little shiver. Now, it's not like they're cold where they're just going to shiver nonstop, but they might just have a little shiver like that. Good. Ethan, keep going.
I wish I could see what you saw. Say, I'd like to be an astronaut. Of course, probably I could. Dr. Street frowned. Why do you say probably I couldn't?
Practically.
No one gets to do that. I said,
Ethan, you're doing really well, but go a little bit slower so we can keep up with you.
okay, you might be one of the people who do, she said, but you will never do anything you want to if you keep saying probably I couldn't.
Pause. What do I I tell you? What have I been trying to tell you? Some of you more than others. If you keep telling yourself, I can't do it, I can't solve it, it's too hard, I can't think of the answer right away, so that means it's not solvable. Is that true?
No.
Is every single answer or every single thing that you want to do with your life going to come like that? Zadie?
No.
No. Can you just decide one day I want to be an astronaut and then just go do it? Colin?
No.
No. You have to learn a lot of math. You have to learn a lot of science. You have to work out and make sure your body is physically fit. You have to be healthy. Being an astronaut is not just going to college and learning about it. It's going to college and learning about it, but also applying it. You have to learn about all different kinds of things. And you also have to make sure your body is healthy enough to go to space. Space can be hard on your body. So you have to make sure it's healthy enough. So you can't just decide to go do something one day and do it. But some of you, when things are hard, just say, oh, I can't do it. Like Gloria is saying right here. It's gonna be hard, but does that mean you can't do it? Class?
No.
No. It's
No.
like these math problems.
No.
It's like the last math problem. It's supposed to be kind of hard. Because it's not really hard. It just makes you think. But sometimes what we do as human beings is when something makes us think, we're like, that's too hard. But that's the purpose of it. It's not supposed to happen like that. It's supposed to teach you can get anything if you just think about it and put the work in. And that's what Gloria is feeling like right now. It's hard. There's a lot of work. I can't do it. Not many people get to do it, so I definitely won't be able to do it. But if everybody thought that way, would there ever be any astronauts? Class?
No.
No. Would there ever be any doctors?
No.
No. If everybody thought it's too hard, I can't do it, well, I don't know. There wouldn't be anything. Everybody would just be sitting at home doing nothing.
There'd be no.
Because what's easy to do? Sit at home and do
Just to
nothing.
sit.
Aaron,
But then we
quickly.
wouldn't have a TV.
Yeah, because nobody would have put the work in to come up with a TV. So you wouldn't even have a TV to watch.
4 times.
Aaron, quickly.
I just realized that if school wasn't a thing, nobody would ever learn anything and nobody would ever do anything.
Exactly. Exactly. We wouldn't have survived to where we are now. We would have died out millions of years ago. If nobody ever tried hard things, humans would not still exist. They wouldn't. Because nobody would have ever created fire. Nobody would have ever created a wheel. Nobody would have ever created cars. Nobody would have ever realized that you can cook food to make it taste better and healthier. Because if they just never cooked food, they would have eaten raw meat forever, which used to happen, which eventually would have killed everybody. But once they realized you can make it safer by cooking it. So, should we be afraid of hard things like Gloria was?
No.
Absolutely not. Otherwise, we'll never do anything. Ever.
Okay.
Because everything is kind of hard in some way. Even preschool stuff that you guys think is so easy. It's hard for preschoolers. But it's easy for you because you learned it and you moved past it and you thought. So that's what Gloria's trying to say. It's too hard. Not many people do it, so I can't. Okay. Thank you. Well, Ethan, just go ahead and read that last little bit.
Maybe I can't, I protested. I looked down at my life. I didn't think a very poor undergoer had a chance to be an astronaut.
Good. Let's turn the page. And Carla, go ahead and read loud and slow. Carla, is it later, not right now, but will it be possible to move your camera up just a little? Because now I can see your whole book, but I can't see any of you. So later, not right now, not right now, not right now, not right now. Later, after you read, try to move it up just a little. Okay, go ahead and read.
Practically nobody.
We're not there. We were there a long time ago. We've turned the page.
Dr. Street looked at my argument too. It was a good throw, just a bad catch, she said. Anyhow, maybe you can
No,
try.
go slow. Go slow.
Maybe I
No,
can't.
start with anyhow.
Anyhow, saying maybe it isn't different.
Carla. You're going too fast. You're not reading all the words. Go back to anyhow and go slow and read all of the words.
Anyhow, saying maybe can't.
Carla.
Is
Maybe I can't is different. The sentence is anyhow. Saying maybe I can't is different. So start again with anyhow and make sure you're reading all the words. I think part of the problem is you're stretching, and so just don't worry about that. Don't worry about the mute button. Just read. So use your fingers to follow along and read.
anyhow, saying maybe I can't is difficult.
Not difficult.
Different. It's okay. This is realistic. Even I can't be a good.
Carla, go slow. Read every word, the whole word, not just the beginning, and then guess the end. Read the whole word. So start with even I can't. Do you notice? So what you're reading, I think what's happening is that some of you are going too fast and you're not noticing the punctuation. Look at the words maybe I can't in the paragraph Carla just read. Do you see how there is a little kind of like a one quotation mark on either side?
Yes, ma'am.
That's because it is a quotation mark. She's quoting what Gloria said, but she's already speaking. So when somebody is speaking and they say a quote, when you write, you just put one. You don't need to know that for your writing, but just understand this means she's saying a quote. So if you just read it as if this wasn't a quote, anyhow saying maybe I can't is different. Well, then it's like that sentence doesn't make sense at all. But if you pay attention to the quotation marks, then you see, oh, she's saying, anyhow saying maybe I can't, she's quoting Gloria, is different. It's the same thing within the sentence that Carla just read, where we see I can't inside that one quotation mark.
Miss
She's
Rose,
quoting, yes.
Smith has had her hand up because I think she may need to blow her nose or something.
Okay, well, Smith, that's just something you can go do if you need to blow your nose. So, go ahead and do that. Okay.
Even I can't can be a good, suitable thing to say. It makes life simpler. When you really know you can't do one thing, that leaves you time to try some of the risks. But when you don't even know what you can do, telling yourself probably I couldn't will stop you before you even start. It's
Paralyzing.
This is paralyzing. You don't want to be paralyzed, don't you?
Okay, so there, it sounds like at first she's saying the opposite of what I was trying to tell you a minute ago. She's not, but it kind of sounds like at first she's saying some things you can't do. And it's good to know that. So then you're starting to think, okay, well then it's fine to say probably I can't. But there's a difference. Maybe I can't means, well, maybe I could. Because does maybe mean yes or no, class?
No.
No, it means maybe.
No.
So probably I can't, but probably. If you go to your mom and say, hey, can my friend come over this weekend? And she says probably. Does that mean your friend's going to come over this weekend?
No.
No.
Think about it, please.
Yes.
Probably. Probably means most likely it is going to happen. It's not 100% guarantee, but it's most likely going to happen. So if you say probably I can't, well then that means most likely you're not going to do it. But maybe. That's less certain. Because if your mom says maybe, well then you still don't really know. Focus. That should not be in your hand. If your mom says maybe, well you still don't really know. If she says probably, you're going to be like, yes. That means most likely my friend's going to come over. But if she says maybe, you're just like, I don't know. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. So probably I can't means you're most likely not going to do it. Maybe I can't means, well, maybe you could. I can't means I can't do it at all. But sometimes that's good, that's sensible. Because if you know that you want to be a famous singer, you would love to be a famous singer, but you are completely tone deaf. You are completely tone deaf. You've gone to voice lessons, doesn't help. Well, then you can say, I can't be a singer. Because do you want to focus all your time on something that will never, ever, ever happen? That you know for a fact will never happen because you're tone deaf and it's gone. Do you want to focus on that thing that is never going to happen? Cullen?
No.
No.
No. Because then if you give up on that thing that you know 100% will never happen because you're being sensible and realistic, then you can focus on things that maybe you could do. So saying probably I can't about being an astronaut means, is she really even going to try? Class?
No.
No. Because she thinks most likely she's not going to do it. But maybe I can't. Is that a little different?
Yes.
Yes, because it means, okay, maybe I can't, maybe I can. I can't. If you want to be an astronaut, but you know that your immune system is really bad, because you have to be healthy to go into space. But you know there is some kind of immune thing that you have where you know you would get sick and you would not survive being in space. Well, then you can say, I can't. Somebody is unmuted at home. So, there's a difference between probably I can't, maybe I can't, and I can't. When it comes to math, there's no such thing as probably I can't, maybe I can't, or I can't. There's only I can. When it comes to being an astronaut, well, maybe I can't, maybe I can. Unless you don't want to do it at all. Well, then that's automatically I can't, so should you focus on being an astronaut if that's not what you want to do? Class?
No.
No. So there is a difference. Okay. Thank you. Carla, go ahead and read next. Victoria, read loud and slow. And make sure you're facing us.
I just was paralyzed, I said a minute ago.
No, look at the you're a minute ago. She's not saying I just was paralyzed, I said a minute ago. Because we have that quotation mark. So that means, and we see a period after said, so that means that's the end of the sentence, not a minute ago. So try again, but make sure at periods you're stopping, not continuing.
I just was paralyzed, I said a minute ago when I threw my head. I didn't enjoy it one bit.
Good, a little louder.
If you don't want to be paralyzed, Dr. Street said, be careful what you tell yourself, because whatever you tell yourself, you are very likely to believe. I thought about what she said. If maybe I could be an astronaut,
So tame them means, are your fears gone? No. Tame them means you know how to handle them. If you tame a lion, if your job is a lion tamer, are you getting rid of that lion? No, you just know how to make it do what you want it to do. Good. Okay, so what can we tell? Let's start this. What can we tell from this page about Dr. Street? So let's look at that second paragraph, that second block of text. What does that tell us about her? She says, even I can't can be a good, sensible thing to say. It makes life simpler. When you really know you can't do one thing, that leaves you time to try some of the rest. What does that tell us about her? Does she believe that every single person's, every single wildest dream can come true? Michaela? No. But she does think that it's sensible to figure out what you can and can't do. So what does that tell us about her? Michaela?
She's very positive.
She's positive, but not overly positive. That's not quite what we're looking for, because if she was completely positive, she would believe every single thing you want to do, you will do in your life. But is that actually true? If you want to play basketball, but you're terrible at sports, is that a realistic thing to try to accomplish? Or should you focus maybe a little bit more on something you're better at? Sorry, think about the question. If you would love to be a basketball player, but you are absolutely terrible, even after practice and everything else, should you keep going after that goal, or maybe should you move on to another one, Zari?
Try to do another one.
Try to do another one. So that's what Dr. Street is saying. That shows that she is sensible and realistic. Sorry, make sure to mute yourself. She is realistic, she is sensible. She knows you can do things if you really try hard, but make sure there are things you can actually accomplish with hard work. There are some things that no matter how much work we put into them, we can't accomplish. And sometimes we know that before we start. But we keep trying anyway, and it just doesn't work. And then we're upset, and we wasted all that time. So knowing whether you can or cannot physically do it before you go in will save you a lot of time and energy. And that's what she's saying. Yes, sorry.
I'm having trouble hearing people other at the back, or just people that don't talk very loud.
I know, that's why you just kind of have to follow along and read yourself. But I try to say which part they're going to read. So just try your best to follow along, okay? But when you do start to hear, stop and listen.
I'll make
Okay.
sure I do that when they start talking.
Thank you. What else do we know about her? Zadie?
She's wise.
She's wise because she does what? What does she do that tells us that she's wise? Use text evidence is basically what I'm saying. What in your text tells you that she's wise? How did you know? What did she do or say that tells you that she's wise?
She said, even I can't can be a good simple thing to say.
Okay, well that kind of goes with this one. Aaron, do you have something different that leads us to believe she's wise?
She's wise because she said things like, if you say you can't do this.
You're saying just what Zadie said. We're not really looking at that paragraph. That paragraph tells us that she's realistic and sensible. So look somewhere else on that page that tells us that she's wise. What else, other than in that paragraph about saying I can't and everything, tells us that she's wise? Carla? Make sure you leave the headphones on, please. I need to make sure.
May I please use the restroom?
Can you wait just a little until we're finished with this part of the lesson?
I have to use it.
Okay, go quickly, Carla, but you're going to miss out. You need to make sure that you're using the restroom at proper times.
Yes, ma'am.
Victoria?
Dr. Street said, be careful what you tell yourself because whatever you tell yourself, you're very likely to believe.
Good. She says, be careful what you tell yourself, because whatever you tell yourself, you're likely to believe. That's what I've been trying to tell some of you. If you tell yourself you can't do it, are you going to do it?
No.
No, because who controls your actions?
You.
You. So if you tell yourself you can't do it, you're controlling your actions right there. You're not going to do it because you're telling yourself I can't. And when you can't, you don't. Like if I say I can't fly, well, am I going to go fly? No. If I tell myself I can't do math, I'm not going to do math. So don't tell yourself I can't unless it is something like I can't fly. Because I physically cannot, and it would be silly to try to put any type of effort into doing that. Good. So she tells Gloria whatever she says to herself is what she's probably going to believe. And what does she believe in? What does Dr. Street believe in? Zari?
She believes that she just needs to believe in herself.
So she
and then maybe
believes
she can do it.
Trying. She believes in trying.
And I've been saying I want to be a neurologist when I grow up. I know I have to learn a lot and go to school. So I'm trying to tell myself I can be a neurologist.
Exactly. Which means you have to tell yourself you can do everything else that leads up to being a neurologist. Like math and science and homework and all of that stuff. Okay. Oh, I don't know why I picked a stick. Anything else? There are some other things on this page. What is she doing at the very end? In the very last paragraph? What is she doing? Colin?
She is telling her what she needs to do.
Good. And when somebody tells you what you should do, what are they doing? If you ask somebody, what should I do? And they say, well, I think you should do this. What are they doing? Sadie?
They're giving you advice.
They're giving you advice. Is this good advice?
Yeah.
For anybody, whether they want to be an astronaut or not? Class?
Yes.
Yes. So, she gives good advice. And this is something I was supposed to talk about earlier, but I forgot. When Gloria was asking her all those questions and she wasn't really answering them, what does that tell you about her? She's very what? She wasn't really answering the questions. What does that tell you about her personality? Zari?
That she doesn't like answering the question, so she actually knows that you want to know and not just leave while she's trying to talk.
Okay. It could also mean that she's what? If somebody's just like kind of answering you, trying to get your attention and make sure that you really are excited, then they're kind of what? Let's see if somebody
Testing you.
Testing, okay. Colin?
They're like, I was going to kind of say testing.
Okay. Victoria?
You're trying to find out if you really want to know.
You guys are saying the same thing. She's mysterious. If somebody's not really giving you full answers because they're trying to see if you are interested, they are mysterious. Because once we find a mystery, do we usually want to solve it?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of us, at least. A lot of us that really use our brains and think. Okay, very good. Thank you, Victoria. Go ahead and read next. Kingston. Loud and slow.
The line moved forward suddenly, and we moved up. Maybe the people in the line behind us thought Dr. Street and I were mother and daughter, had mysterious
louder, Kingston. Kingston is just reading the rest of page 97. Okay, keep going.
So how does a person think big? By doing things that are difficult and succeed. Dr. Street said. That's how you learn how to count on yourself. That's how you get confidence. But even then, keep a little bit of fear aside. A fear that keeps you.
I want everybody to circle that paragraph because that is life advice that you all need. What does it mean? Big things are really little. I don't even know where we stop. Whatever. Cullen, what do you think that means? Yes, there are big things and there are little things in life. But what does it mean when we say big things are really little?
Like, there could be a big box and something inside of it is very little.
Okay, so you're thinking literally, which, yeah, sure, you may have a big box, but it's not actually holding anything, like a bag of chips. You got a big bag of chips, you take it home and you realize it was mostly air and you got hardly any chips. But what about figuratively? That's literally. What about figuratively? Big things are really little. Zadie?
I think that when Dr. Street said that, she meant like when she was in space, the Earth looked kind of little.
Okay. So again, literally, we think of the Earth as massive. But when she was in space, she was able to see the whole thing in one view. So she realized, the Earth really isn't as big as we think it is. It's really small because look at space. So yes, again, that's literally. You got it. Take a breath. Get your thoughts together.
As important as little problems?
Not quite, but you're on the right track. I think what you're trying to say is that the problems that seem major to us, are they usually actually as big as we think they are? No. That's what she's trying to say. That's the secret of life she's trying to give. Is that when we think we have these big major issues, they feel big and they feel major to us in the moment. But once we get through them and we look back, are they usually, now sometimes they are, but are they usually as big as we thought they were in the moment? Cullen?
No.
No. Like when you think, oh my gosh, I keep coming back to math because I think that's where some of you are really having the issue. And you get to that last problem and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is too hard. It's too big of a problem. I can't think about it. But then you saw that answer this morning. Was that really as big of an issue as you thought it was?
No.
Was it asking for as much as you maybe thought it was and you couldn't come up with everything you thought it was asking, so you just put some random answer down? Was it asking for as much as you thought maybe it was? Zadie?
No.
No. It was just asking, is it helpful? Yes or no? Well, yes. Why? Well, it makes me do it quicker. Give me an example. Well, 8 plus 2 is 10 and 10 plus 3 is 13. Is that as big as you thought it was? No. So what Dr. Street is saying, sometimes those big, massive problems that you think you might have, they're not as big as you thought. So take some breaths, calmly look at it and think about it, and come up with a solution. Okay, thank you, Smith. Keep reading, Zadie. Louder.
And I could see how little things are really big. Just on the count of an onion, I had met an astronaut. And on account of the same onion, I had stopped talking to her. But how big things are really little, I couldn't understand.
she's saying Gloria still doesn't really understand how big things are really little. And even though we're talking about it, you may still not understand that. You may be like, oh, okay, I guess I get what you're saying, but I still don't get it. That's because you're young, and Gloria is young. And you haven't had a chance to see how the big things are really little. But, on the other hand, little things can be big. Just like our big problems are probably smaller than we think they are, the little things in life are a lot bigger than we think they are too. Gloria's saying all she did was go to the grocery store for an onion. But she got to meet an astronaut. A famous astronaut who gave her so many life lessons. Do you think that this trip to the supermarket is something she's going to remember for the rest of her life? Class?
Yes.
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 Just because she went to get an onion. So the little things can be big. The big problems are usually smaller than we think. The little things that make us happy and excited, probably a lot bigger than we think. Those things are the things we're going to remember forever. So keep that in mind. Our big problems are probably not as big as we think, but our little successes are a lot bigger than we think. Okay. Go ahead and turn the page. And let's read about the author and the illustrator. Zari, please read to us about the author. Don't forget the title of this page.
Blaze off.
What is that? What is that word? What is that? Not blaze.
Blast off with Anne and Anna. Anne Cameron.
Just sound it out. It's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Anne Cameron.
Good. Keep going. If I don't say anything, that means keep going.
Is a well-known writer. When she was a young girl like Gloria, she was also.
Nope, not also.
She was always outside exploring and wondering about the world about her.
Not about her.
The world around her. Anne did not have a TV until she was 9 years old. She spent time listening to stories on the radio and reading books. And today, Anne was still loving nature.
Not loving.
And
Not loving.
today, Anne still loves nature and books. She lives in.
Try it. That GUA sounds like gua.
Guatemala.
Good. Guatemala. Don't forget that A at the end.
Guatemala, near a waterfall and volcanoes.
Go ahead and read to us about the author too. I mean the illustrator too.
Anna Rich has always loved to draw. From an early age, her mom saw that talent.
Not her mom. I know it means the same thing, but we have to make sure we're reading words correctly.
From an early age, her mother saw her talent and encouragement.
No, not encouragement, but
Encouraged
good.
and to follow her dream. Her passion for an illustrator.
Not illustrating.
Illustrator.
Remember that TION sounds like shun.
Illustration.
There you go.
Eventually became a full-time job. Good things too became Anna has never considered considered doing anything else as a career. Anna, a native New Yorker, she still lives there with her family.
Good. Very good. Okay, so remember this story. The big things, are they that big? Are they that hard? Is it impossible to succeed when things seem big and difficult? Class?
No.
The little successes. When you've been struggling and all of a sudden you get the correct answer to a problem. Is that little? Class?
No.
So remember, the big things aren't that big, and sometimes the little things are pretty big. So remember this story. When you're doing your homework, or you're doing your classwork, and you're like, this is too hard, I don't know how to do it, I can't do it. Remember this story. The big things aren't that big. Think about what you can do, because the little things are sometimes really big. Okay, go ahead and close that. Put your chart in your reading folder.